Cooking over the campfire seems simple, but what if there is no fire ring or you need to adjust the heat? A little while ago, we picked up the Stansport Tripod and Grill, and we're gonna show you how it works using our itty bitty tiny little 2-quart Dutch oven to cook up some chili and biscuits. You found Explore Trek Adventure with Kelly and Greg. We cover everything camping from backpacking to adventure vans. I'll put affiliate links for the tripod and everything we cooked with down in the description below so it's easy for you to find. One of my favorite parts about campfires is raking around it. Not only is it fun to do, but it's for safety too. We keep the rake in our monster box, and this thing is just very compact, but I can actually expand it. Twist it to make it longer, and then we can make it nice and wide. And these are just like fire magnets.
We had some comments that we were ruining the forest by raking around the fire pit.
We actually ended up asking a ranger about that because of course we don't want to ruin the forest floor if we're doing something wrong. And he said, absolutely, you should be wiping around the campfire. You don't want any of that because that is just potential forest fire starter. So we are raking around the fire. Just make sure that you are dispersing your piles so that you're not having this big gigantic mound where it can catch on fire.
On our way in here, you can see these awesome trees starting to turn colors, super cool. Well, we need to get this fire going. That's one difference between this kind of cooking versus the other, well, any other type of cooking, is you have to do a little bit of planning because you want to cook with coals and not actual fire. So we need to get our fire going now so we're ready with coals. That should work. We just need fire. We have fire. Those pine needles are almost too wet to burn. Let's go get that tripod set up and we'll show you all the features. One thing I noticed right away when this showed up is there is no bag at all whatsoever. So I've commandeered a different bag that I had from something else that I repurposed to hold the legs. And we have a garbage bag to hold the grill. Once you cook on this a couple times, it ends up getting pretty dirty and gross and you don't want to just throw it in your rig. We need a place to work, so we're gonna set our big table up. This is what your legs look like. They do fold up small, I do like that. And they go to bed together super well. You can see they've got some shock cord in there. One thing I was a little originally worried about is if that shock cord is going to self-destruct over the fire. Hasn't so far. And honestly, if you're doing it right, your legs are pretty far away from the fire itself. And these are very lightweight. This is the top that holds the tripod together. You just slide on, and there's a little clip that goes on there. And you can see right here that this keeps it from sliding all the way down. And you just slide each one in. And there you go. And once you add it in, you can just extend it out. So that's the height. Technically, you could probably fold one of the legs down to make it shorter, but you really don't need to because you have the chain. The chain's adjustable. According to the instructions, you're supposed to feed it through here. I think they even want you to feed it back through there. But originally, you weren't able to easily thread this through because this was more like the other side, how thin it is. So I just took my pliers and I just bent that up. And now it feeds through super easy. This is your 17-inch round grilling surface, and this chain is pretty lightweight, but it's plenty big enough to actually support everything, and so you don't want this massive chain. What I did add was this extra carabiner just because I didn't like these little tiny ones. It's hard for my fingers to do. And also, when you feed this through here, this is what helps you adjust, so you really should put this on prior to putting that last leg in. It slides over the leg itself. Now once you have it in place, to adjust it, you just alleviate the pressure on here. You can slide this up and down. So you want it super high, you want it super low. And this catches, just uses the leverage to catch. and it's easy to adjust. It easily slides up and down. We got our lights up because it gets dark at like 4:30 now. It's terrible. Let me show you why you want to clean up your fire pit. This, just a handful. Watch what it does. That's just a small, tiny handful. Can you imagine a whole forest full of that? Although it does make some easy fires. You've got your big surface here and you can cook directly on this. We've cooked burgers and stuff in there. You can also stick your pan or stick your pot, whatever you're cooking with, through the grate if you can get the, ours has the little feet, so sometimes it's hard to get in the right spot. So you can stick that on there. Of course, you got to get it level. You can cook like that, or what you can do, and this is why I added this extra carabiner. I just wanted to make it super easy for me to take on and off, is you can hang your pot directly here. And say you wanted to get super low, you could. And it's plenty sturdy to hold a big Dutch oven.
We totally forgot that we had this big loaf of bread that we brought with us, so we're gonna have this. We're gonna toast some up on the grill instead of making biscuits. Let's cut this up now. Oh, this looks delicious. Now, if only my bread that I made came out as nice as this. Nice big fat pieces. We're testing out this new little light that we just got. It's from a Whiskey, and it's actually pretty cute. I'm really liking it, especially the form factor. So we are going to be doing in the future, a flashlight showdown of all the flashlights and stuff we have, and I think this one's going to be added to it. It's got some really cool features to it.
Let's get our bread cooking. You can see how huge this fire pit is, but these legs go out pretty far. They also will go in pretty far too, so it's pretty flexible. So let's put our bread right about here.
Can't go wrong with garlic. Okay, that's 3 pieces. I guess we better do 4 pieces, so we each have 2.
Yeah, let's give that a go. I don't know who the brewmaster is on these Voodoo Rangers, but you're doing an awesome job.
We're gonna get this meat put in here so it can start cooking first before we chop up the vegetables and add all the other ingredients. Put some oil. Oh, I did not do that well. I think we're only gonna actually use half of this since our pot is only 2 quarts. Put that in there and then we can cook that up.
Look at that, you can see our bread's starting to melt the butter, although it's melting on the inside first, so let's turn them around. Ooh, toasty already.
Ooh, it's cold out here. This fire feels nice though. So this bread seems really good, I think done. Let me see. Oh yeah. Crunchy. Oh no. There we go.
We're gonna use the grate this time because we're gonna put veggies on the outside. So we gotta find a sweet spot. Ooh, there we go. There's the sweet spot. And I think we need to get it closer to the fire. We want some good heat on it. Let's try that. The only thing that can be a little frustrating with this is it rotates and spins. Although it makes it good because then you can use a spin it and put your stuff on it.
While I'm cutting these veggies up, let me tell you about our very first wildlife encounter. Greg and I were actually still dating, and we were tent camping. We were getting ready for a big concert, and we were sitting around the campfire, and then all of a sudden, a skunk actually came right under our seat. It was like walked right next to us. We were all like, oh, don't move, don't move.
And it was no more than what? 10 feet?
Yeah.
When it popped out of the bushes, and we just kind of looked at each other and we just kind of sat there. We didn't even know what to do.
Walked right by and then walked right on by. We'd be really interested to know what your guys' first wildlife encounter had been while camping. I'm sure there are some interesting stories out there.
Let's check on the meat. Having tongs like this works really well because you could adjust the fire if you need to, but it also lets you grab the lid. Ooh. It is starting to cook in there.
This onion actually came from our family's farm. Not ours, but our family member's farm. It's the last one of the season, and they were kind enough to give it to us. Thank you.
See where we're at. Oh yeah, let's get some stirring on that thing. We definitely need to raise it up a little bit. So that's how you're going to control your temperature, like that. This has been over the campfire for a good 30 plus minutes. Let's check the temperatures. This is totally cold. It's actually very cold. These poles are all cold, so I don't think there's any worry about that shock cord getting ruined. Cold, well, starting to get warm. This is where, right about here is where you're getting warm. Let's get our veggies on here. You got to remember, cooking like this is going to take quite a while because you got to get your fire going, kind of let it burn down and let your food itself cook. So don't plan on doing anything quick, but I think you can turn out some good looking stuff. I think we're about ready to serve this up. Out of all the bread we have, this is all we have left. But we're going to cut some strips here so we can stick into our bowl. Make it look fancy, because you got to be fancy when you're camping. It's nice and hot. It's getting cold out fast now the sun's gone down.
I definitely need some hot chili to warm up because I am freezing cold. Oh, it's hot. No, it's pretty good actually. Warm my hands on the hot bowl. If you're into campfire cooking, having a tripod is actually kind of a cool way to go. We've actually cooked quite a few meals on it and have had good success. And I would say this one was definitely a success. Is this easy enough for beginners? I think definitely it is. Just be careful of that swinging of the grill. It can get a little crazy sometimes. You can go check out this video next. You can find us at explorertrekadventure.com, and we'll see you next time.